hearted guy. He's sort of my de facto doctor when I have some questions about an ache or a pain, or I call him, and he's just a wealth of information. He's also he used to be a commercial airline pilot, emergency room doctor.
Really, he was
a trader.
Pilot. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's one of those Renaissance men like you, man.
On that note, did that rash? Did you get that? Did you get that all cleared up?
You were supposed to say anything about that.
That all got cleared up, right? Did Dr. Jeff help you out?
I called Jeff. I said, Jeff, are we on a recorded line? If he says no, then I tell him about my rash.
It didn't fall off or anything, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
All right, folks. Again, if you need to reach us, go to www.outandabout-productions. It's not a .com, it's a .production. So it's
outandabout.productions. Yeah.
Outandabout.productions. We are here to listen. Stand by. We're going to get into just a couple quick commercial breaks. You're listening to KEIB, The Patriot, with your hosts, Mike Wade and PJ LaRive.
Hey, wait, Patrick.
What?
Oops, let's do that again. Wait, PJ.
What?
The most important segment that we're going to be doing in our Saturday night show is this new segment called Life Talk.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, remember? So Life Talk is something that we both feel will be a great impact and contribution to your personal experience of yourself. And it's really focused on very simple, maximize your vibration. That's a way of saying to increase your energy levels in all aspects of your being, in your body and in your mind, and then actually developing and cultivating a spiritual kind of context that as you look at things outside of yourself, perhaps that's God, perhaps that's source, might be universe, whatever you call it, but really just week by week tips on how to just really love your life when it comes down to it. We'll be sharing with you different topics each week in a dialogue. We'll be asking you to ask questions, and we'll do a little bit of perhaps coaching, if you want to call it that. We're really excited about that part. It's going to be based on the book Maximum Vibration that you'll learn more about, I suppose, over the next handful of radio shows. So we're really looking forward to that.
That sounds awesome. You know what? I think we need to talk about how do we get our women to worship us. That should be...
I'm still working on that. I haven't figured that out yet.
Don't you think that should be another chapter in your book? How to make women worship us.
Or men.
Or men.
If you're on...
Or if you're in a woman,
right.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, but I think I'm going to change my name from PJ to Dr. Love.
Well, you are a doctor already, right?
Yeah, but it's not Dr. Love. It's not that
Dr.
kind
Love.
of doctor. And
I'm going to call you Dr. Love now.
Man, I got some stories to tell you about old Dr. Love. All right, folks, you're listening to KEIB, The Patriot. You're listening to Out and About in L.A. Mike Wade, PJ LaRive, your hosts. Our 15-second radio spot here was sponsored by the Christian Businessmen's Connection. It's a band of brothers dedicated to helping you become the man that you were designed to be.
Dodge is a powerful vehicle that affects the chemicals in the brain which may give you the feeling of immortality. Dodge is not recommended for individuals who have strong ties to social networks or are obsessed with mobile games. You should not use Dodge if you are allergic to adrenaline, endorphins, burnouts, or freedom. Dodge is highly addictive. Even one test drive of Dodge may lead to irreversible changes in your life. Dodge has been known to make the voices in your head louder and has the ability to shift perceptions and burn bridges. Dodge may impair your ability to obey the rules and respect social conventions. People with gluten intolerance, political aspirations, or lack of self-control should use caution when operating Dodge. Do not use Dodge if you are pregnant or do not want to get pregnant. Dodge may cause loss of inhibitions and in some cases bodily functions. Side effects include shortness of breath, increased blood flow to the genitals, and angry neighbors. Dodge has been known to frighten wild animals and show dogs in equal measure. Dodge Brothers Motor Company is not responsible for any decisions made behind the wheel of Dodge. Consult physician, psychiatrist, and the Holy Trinity before driving Dodge. Consider yourself warned.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Love me, baby.
You know, for all our listeners throughout the United States that are podcasting us and listening to us through iHeartRadio, I really think it's time you discover Los Angeles, the magic of Los Angeles. Come on down and see us.
It felt right. It felt right.
Hi, and welcome back to Out and About with your host, PJ LaRive, and a handsome co-host, Mike Wade.
Why, thank you.
Mike, getting into this new segment that we're getting ready to start now, it's called Light Up Your Life Talk. I want to make a statement, and I want you to tell me if that statement is a fact to you. When you change the way you think about a situation, everything connected to that situation will change. Do you agree with that?
100%, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. One aspect of life is relationship, and if you have a relationship, you can focus on the good stuff or the bad stuff. It could be relationship, it could be your career, it could be your financial situation, it could be anything in life, but really our thoughts generate our experience. So it's really important, I think, to generate that distinction and alter your thoughts to create what you really want.
I believe that. I really do, because I know in my personal relationships, being an engineer and being an inventor of life, I change negative situations continuously in my life. The way I do that is to change the perspective of what the other person is thinking at that moment. So, you know, Mike, talking about law of attraction, let's talk about the law of attraction. I mean, you were very clear to me. It's about everything. It's what you perceive in your life that you need and you want, and then you set the rules of the universe of law of attraction in motion. Will that to you. And folks, this is not like witchcraft, right? It's not like voodoo. it's the universe, and it's what you deserve. Mike, let's talk about the law of attraction.
So first of all, it's very provocative, right? Some people believe it, some people don't believe it. It was popularized by the documentary/book called The Secret 10, 15 years ago. Can't remember exactly how long ago it was, but it's really about what you think. If you think it with enough heart, enough power, it actually generates. The universe will come to your aid and actually generate it. Now that sounds pretty hocus pocus, right? But there's also some quantum physics that's been coming to light. Quantum physics is this really explains how the law of attraction works. So we're not going to go into a discussion of the physics of the law of attraction, but it's really quite simple. It's a process where you relax into the power of the universe and you create what you want in your mind. Like, think about it with a lot of vividness, like pictures and sounds and colors and taste, and generate the experience in your mind. Generate it to the point where you feel it in your body. You could almost not even have the experience, and therefore you don't really need it, right? So you generate the experience so that you're not really super wanting it, you're just experiencing it. So that's step 2. Step 1 is generate a vivid experience of it in your head. Step 2 is to generate the experience in your body, generate some emotions around it, some excitement, some gratitude. Gratitude's really important. That's the 3rd step. Inject gratitude into this process, into the fact that you're about to enjoy something that you decide you want. We're going to give you some examples here in a minute. And the 4th step is in the moment, in those moments when you start to doubt that it's going to happen, then what you do is disregard and go back to step 1. Behave like a 5-year-old, really. 5-year-olds don't think about it not happening and not being possible. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a race car driver. They don't think twice about that not being a possibility for them. They just reach out and they choose and they live into that as a possibility. So that's the general formula. I've derived that formula by a lot of studying. I did some work with Kevin Trudeau, who has a program called Your Wishes, Your Commands. I studied this thing for a year and I came up with that formula I just shared with you. It was also, you remember this, right? It was also talked about in The Secret, the documentary and the video documentary and the book called The Secret. And one example that struck me from their PJ, we talked about this the other day, is Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Right.
When he wrote it, nobody wanted it. Nobody was reading it. And so he was broke. He was struggling. And then he really got hold of the law of attraction, and he decided to utilize it. So he was taking a shower one day, and he said, you know what, I'm going to make $100,000 on my book. Just pull the number out of the air, $100,000. And he took a dollar bill and put 5 zeros next to the one and stuck it over his bed, so that in the morning when he got up, $100,000 is shown on the ceiling. And when he went to bed, $100,000.
Right, I love it.
So he just kept thinking about it. $100,000, $100,000. And then he had a moment where he was in a grocery store line. You know how they have the National Enquirer in most grocery store lines, PJ?
Right.
It's a crazy magazine, but he was looking at it and he said, you know what? Popular magazine, every grocery store, I bet I could sell a lot of books if I advertised in the National Enquirer. So he just put that out. He just thought it. Sometime later, he was doing a presentation at a college and he was talking about his book. And at the end of the presentation, a reporter came up to him and said, Mr. Canfield, I'd like to do a story about you and your book. And he goes, yeah, sure, I'd love it. And she goes, fine, let's do it. And he goes, well, what magazine are you with? And guess what she said?
The
National Enquirer.
Yeah.
Of all the magazines it could have been, the National Enquirer.
I'm telling you, man,
Magic.
It's the law of attraction.
So he had that conversation with the reporter. The book's sold in the magazine, and within a year, after he designated he's going to make $100,000 a year, he ended up with something like $96,000 and change within a year. His $100,000 vision, just out of the blue, he came up with $100,000 in a year. Bang, he has it. So I've actually got some examples in my life where I did the same thing, and PG, I know you do as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's magical stuff, and I use it in my life daily. I built an Arabian horse business, a very successful international Arabian horse business, using that. And it was weird. When I met this person that was breeding horses, he only had 2. We came together, we bred and built a successful business. And one day, right when we started, I said, well, how can we sell a lot of these horses, and what do they go for? He said, well, you can sell them for $1 million. I'm like, $1 million for a horse? Yeah, Arabians are pretty exotic. And my next question, of course, would be, well, who buys an Arabian horse for $1 million?
Exactly.
An animal. And he said, Arab sheikhs do. And I said, well, what's an Arab sheikh?
Right.
I never met a sheikh. He said, I haven't met a sheikh either, and they're really tough to get to. And I said, no, nonsense. We're going to sell our horses to sheikhs. And I picked out a big number. And then we started doing the business. We did the marketing, we did the photo shoots, we bred horses, we went to horse shows. I'd say about 6 months after we made the declaration, we're selling Arabian horses for this much money. It was about $500,000, let me just say. We were approached by a Middle Eastern gentleman at a horse show in Las Vegas, and he came up and he said, he came to us, by the way, just like the reporter went to Jack Canfield.
Really?
He came to us, and he walked right up to us. And he said, well, do you have any horses related to a horse that we own, the stallion that we own? And we said, no, but we could certainly make one for you.
Right.
So 6 months after that, we're sitting in Dubai. And by the way, he worked for the ruler of Dubai.
Oh, come on.
Yes. Dubai Arabian stud. He's essentially the prime minister of the UAE. 6 months later, I'm sitting next to him at a horse show. Can you believe it? Where did that happen?
And he says, let me write you a check for $1 million.
The money didn't happen then. About a year later, we bred two babies, two beautiful foals, and they were sold to a different sheikh for the exact amount, just over actually, that we just declared and put into the universe, let's say 18 months earlier than that.
That's amazing.
It's magic, man. I'm telling you.
It is magic, man, and it's witchcraft. Talking about Rhonda Byrne, I think, is the author. She was an Australian who wrote The Secret. I do know it was Beyond Words Publishing that did her original book back in, I think it was like 2006. So it's been quite a while. And since then, I know I have used the law of attraction in my life, I can't say daily because I'd be lying to everybody, but